There we go. Sorry, I was on mute. That should be a t-shirt this year. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time to some of you to Work Unleashed Live. My name is Dan O'Leary. I'm Director of Partnerships here at Box, and you are joining us live. Today is July 17th, 2020. That's right. I'll save you asking your smart assistant. You've made it. You were here. This is live. Leave a comment. Let us know you were here. We'd be happy to have you check in, say what's up. Welcome. Glad you could be here today. We have an amazing action-packed agenda. I think you're going to enjoy it. Today, we're going to be talking about Box Consulting and the power of champions in change management. I'm not sure if that's Champions League or We Are the Champions or the Clash of the Champions, but today you will find out. And to do that, I am joined by Natasha Paes from Box Consulting to talk about how we collaborate with customer champions and change networks to drive awareness, drive adoption, and enable users to simplify their work using Box. I'm definitely in the right place. Welcome, Natasha. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Dan. Hey, it's good to be here.
So great to see you again, Tasha. I also think, by the way, this is our first worldwide edition of Work Unleashed Live. So we have taken this global. So thank you for that.
It is, I believe. Yeah, I'm joining you from sunny London today. So yeah, taking it international. It's our international debut.
Well, I'm so glad you could do it. And before we dig into the meaty questions, tell me, have you named your plants? Have you had time to name those plants?
We very creatively named the fern. The rest of them are so far nameless.
Okay, the fern. That is 10 points to Gryffindor. Good for you there. That's really good. All right, Tosh, so glad you could join us today. Can you tell me and everyone joining us today, what does a change management consultant do at Box? I was told that Box was easy. Tell me more.
Box is easy. I think those of us who use it know, but I think the thing that often gets missed is that change is actually really hard. No matter who you are, change is a difficult thing to grapple with. So I'm a change management consultant at Box. As I said, I'm based in, today, sunny London. So I tend to work with customers throughout the EMEA region. Some of my bigger customers are the Met Police and AstraZeneca. And what I tend to do is work with mainly two types of customers. First of all, a lot of customers who are introducing Box for the first time to their business. So they really need our help to train people, to engage with them, to help them understand what the benefits of Box are so that they can hit the ground running. And then the second type of customer I tend to see is people who've had Box for a while, it's going well, but they actually want to start using it in a more sophisticated way. So they might be expanding it to other parts of the business, introducing new processes to Box. They might be using new products such as Box Shield and Box Relay. So they really need our help to come in and upskill their users and help them look at their processes and understand how they can streamline those using Box. But regardless of which of those type of customers I'm really looking at, there's some key things that I tend to be focused on. But the number one is always helping to drive adoption, because that's what's going to really help an organization really realize their investment in Box. So I will always be looking for what the key barriers are going to be. And I've jotted down here on the slide what a few of the ones that I see the most. I've been working with Box customers for 2 years now and working in change management before that. And I think anybody who's used to working in change or who's working in IT implementations or even any sort of change is going to be familiar with these types of barriers. Change is becoming so rapid. I mean, even if we exclude the last 3 crazy months, change is becoming change is just becoming really rapid. And, some people end up suffering from change fatigue. They don't know what's happening when, they don't know what tools they should be using. So we really go in and help provide some guidance and clarity around that. Make sure people know what's happening when, that, we've got sponsorship from the top so people are being guided in the right way, and that they really understand what's in it for them. Because at the end of the day, if people understand why change is going to benefit them, they're much more likely to give it a go and adopt that change. So that's where organizations are really going to see the value in their investment in Box.
That's amazing. And it's interesting, but also not surprising that I see the same things here. So it's nice to know that these reasons are the same, kind of regardless of where you are. It just seems to be if you're working in collaboration and you're trying to change how you work, these barriers are definitely the same. So that's super enlightening. Tosh, tell me, you personally, as a change management expert, because it's great to know what you're advising your customers on. But I'm curious how you've adapted your own work styles over the last couple months. So I hope I can say this right. How is a change management manager managing change? Tell me everything.
Well done. I'm
Okay.
glad you got that out. So a couple of things I would say. I think first of all, just me personally, it's funny. Before this, I always said I would probably never work from home full time, at least, because change management's all about people. You need to create personal connections with people, and I always felt that you had to be in front of people to do that, and it was so important. But the interesting thing is that I've actually been forced to put a bit more effort in and really focus on those relationships and get to know people better, rather than just relying on it happening organically and naturally. So it's probably, I think, been beneficial to the relationships that I have. And I've really had to dig in and ask people the right questions, whether it's my customers or my friends, even to really understand the challenges people are facing right now and how I can help them. I think at Box, we've been so lucky. We've got, a tool that's ready made for remote work. We've got a really strong culture. I went from working 1 week in the office to the next week. I was not only doing all my work remotely, but I was doing, workouts at 8 a.m. with my team on Zoom. We were doing evening pub quizzes. In fact, Dan, you were an excellent host of one of those.
It's true.
You make
It's
an
true.
excellent surprise pub quiz host. But we went through that transition so seamlessly. But you have to remember that that is not most people's experience. When I talk to my customers and my friends and family, many people have really struggled through this transition to remote work because they didn't have the tools ready there for them. They've had to make changes really rapidly and adapt incredibly fast. So, I've had to really dig in and understand where they're coming from and ask them the questions to find out what's going on in their lives so I can support them. So that's been a massive change, but I think really, really beneficial. I think the second thing I've noticed, and this is a bit more of a broader observation about change management generally, is that, and I really, really, I'm crossing my fingers, I hope this is the case, but that the days of IT just, rolling out a tool and hoping it'll stick are over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Not just push the launch button and say, well, people will figure it out.
exactly. I mean, you can't rely on word of mouth anymore. You can't just stand up at a team meeting and mention it and hope everyone will remember and go and log on and give it a go.
No, it would just be
So
me and my plants. It would be a very boring team meeting.
yeah, or you and your Peloton, I've heard, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have regular one-on-ones, that's for sure. Yes.
yeah. But so what I've really seen is so many more IT teams, they're trying to roll out tools really, really fast. So they've had to partner with their internal comms teams, their marketing teams to make sure they're doing it right because they just don't have the time to do it all on their own. So that's the other big change I've seen. I'm really, really hoping that one sticks.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I think, you heard you say that the days of just pushing launch, well, probably were never a good idea in the first place, but there are teams of people, whether it's an HR team or a people team or a comms team, who are experts at culture and people and change, and engaging them is so critical to make these things not just happen, but to be really delightful and not impactful in a bad way
Yeah,
to
100%.
humans. So, Tosh, can you tell me a little bit more? You mentioned some of the great customers you've worked with and some of the experiences you've been having over the last couple of months. What do you think are some of the keys to a successful change management engagement? Are there any things that work super well? Tell me more.
Hmm. I think I can come up with one or two, hopefully. There's a lot of things that are really important to successful change management. In fact, I hope some of the people listening today were tuned in a few weeks ago when my colleague Linda Bunn was talking about change management strategies and methodologies. She had some amazing insights there. For me personally, I think there's one thing that stands out above everything else, and that is having a really, really, really strong partnerships with my customers and the people that I'm working with. Because at the end of the day, those of us in the Box consulting team, we're the experts on Box, but the customer is the expert on their business, their ways of working, their culture, and most importantly, their people. So that is, so, so important. If I really want to reach people and resonate with them, I need to customize my strategy and my approach to fit with their culture and their ways of working. So important to have those strong partnerships and with stakeholders who are going to give you insights into the organization. And I think more and more in this world of remote work, it's becoming really important. I mean, I think it's always been important, but more so now, to identify champions across an organization who can really help you understand what's going on at every level, but also be your voice out into the business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Champions, and let's zoom into that today, because champions are really the catalyst to make change happen. And some of the folks that get involved soonest are going to set the trend. I think about it a lot like, if you've ever had a gathering at your house or a big party or something, you invite your best friends first to kind of set the vibe, like they don't mind being the first 2 to 4 people there. That's all I want, really, and then when other people show up, it's like, oh, it's kind of cool. So you got a thing going. So we all know about champions networks in our lives, or I don't know. I think I'm not going to have anyone to stand in my driveway these days, but hey, that could work. Tosh, can you tell me a little bit more about champion networks? It sounds pretty fascinating. Sure. Tell me, what is a champions network and what do they do? How do they work? Tell me a little bit more.
I can. I mean, I love that analogy, though. It's brilliant. And, it is really that. They're the people who are your sort of spokespeople. They're your advocates. I really like to say champions are your eyes, ears, voice out in the business. But really, they're people that you identify and recruit to help advocate for a change on your behalf. At the end of the day, a message is going to come across so much better. You think if you're a person who's experiencing some change, you've got a new system coming and you're thinking, God, I don't want to change how I'm working. I'm used to how I'm working. These people from IT are just, asking me to do something different. They don't really understand how I'm working day to day. That message is going to come across so much better, and you're really going to take it on board if it's coming from someone you know and trust, somebody who already knows what your ways of working are, what the challenges are going to be, and can really identify with that. It's just going to be a much more powerful and impactful message. And one of the things I'm hearing so much at the moment is project teams saying to me that they're really, really strapped for resource. They don't know how they're going to manage. They're rolling out several tools at once. They say to me, if I have to choose between testing and implementing a system or going out and engaging with end users, I mean, there's not much point in engaging with the users if you don't have the system there, right? But what I say to them is, champions are your friend, because those are the people who are going to do so much of the job for you. You need to invest a bit of time with them up front to make sure they're doing it, they're equipped to do it well and that they understand the vision, but they will save you so much time in the long run. So the way, to give you a little bit of background, the way I normally go about that is I will usually in an organization look to set up a sort of a formal champion network. And that's where I'll go out and identify people who are going to be directly impacted by the change. And we'll have regular meetings. They'll have roles and responsibilities such as sending out comms or speaking at their team meetings. But in addition to that, it's also really important to identify and build up a more informal champion network across the business at all levels. So, I mean, if you look at this nifty diagram we've got up here, what you're really trying to achieve is a kind of a closed feedback loop, so that you know what your key messages are, you're sending them out there, you've got your voices out in the business, but those people are also hearing what's bubbling up, they're listening to people, understanding what challenges are happening out there in the business and feeding it back to you so you know what's going on and you're not operating in a bubble.
This is amazing. And I think the key thing I'd also like to point out is you'll notice that those arrows go both directions. So it's not just about giving feedback, it's about being open to receiving it and understanding that, something that may be small to you for software functionality could have a big impact on people. And for IT folks that aren't used to talking to people, more comfortable talking to technology, that's totally fine. There's obviously a people side that has to go both ways here too. This is a bi-directional traffic loop. So this is
definitely is. It's really important to listen to that feedback and make sure you're being proactive about how you address it. But champions are a great way to hear that, but also respond and get back to people and say, we've listened to you and this is what we're doing to try and make your life easier.
Okay, so this is partial therapy. This is great. I love this. This feels great. I want to be a champion. It sounds like a great job. Is there a job application page, or if I'm a Box customer saying, okay, Tosh, I got it. I want to find some champions to help me drive the adoption of Relay or drive the adoption of Shield, or to actually help people start using Box for a lot of the use cases that we originally planned for, that maybe they just been hesitant to make those changes for. How do you think about enabling and empowering and high-fiving these champions? Like what specifically does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's so
Look at this.
important. I mentioned, I mentioned before that you need to, you do need to invest a bit of time up front, and it's so important to set your champions up for success. At the end of the day, they're going to be your voice out in the business, and if they're having a frustrating, difficult experience because they don't really know how to answer the questions that are coming to them, and they don't really understand what's going on, that's going to be reflected in how they speak to people about it. And they're not going to be helpful to you in the long term. So I think probably the most important thing is to develop a shared vision with your champions, so that they really buy in and understand why the change is happening, and they're able to articulate that out to their colleagues. So one of the ways I go about doing that is really by actually engaging with them and collaborating with them to identify what the key benefits are going to be to the people in the organization, and how you're going to communicate that out to people, because once they're bought into that and they feel like they've played a role, you'll find that really enables and sets your champions up for success. But there's a few other key things. Training is so important. You really want them to understand what the change is, how it's going to work. So, here at Box, we're big fans of interactive learning. We have some amazing education specialists in our team who run brilliant live virtual training sessions that are really interactive and engaging. But as soon as that's over, I find it's so important to follow up and keep learning. So, one of the things I've been doing with a lot of champion networks recently is setting them up with a bit of a scavenger hunt where they've got to go hunting around in Box to find different files and answer questions and complete some tasks. Because, I find with these groups, competition is always a great bonus. I mean, in the old days, we would bribe them with Box swag, which, the socks were always the key item to try and get. But, these days we're finding creative ways. We're asking champion groups to identify, competitions to identify the best use cases in their team or drive the most usage in their team. And we can't send them swag right now, but we're, sometimes sending Amazon vouchers or working with the customer to make sure that the champions are rewarded. A few other things that we tend to do to try and, really enable those champions is to give them some time. If you're launching a tool, give them some time to play around and test and work it out before they're gonna be talking to other people around it, because that lets people learn in their own way and really helps them become experts. The other thing I find is giving them some clear roles and responsibilities. What you're really asking people to do is go out and be an advocate and be excited and evangelize, your change for you. But to get people started, I find it's really helpful to give them some specific roles and actions to take. So things like I'll usually give them some communications templates and a comms plan so they can go out and customize those for their team and send them out. I'll ask them to speak at their team meetings, and those things usually help them get the ball rolling. But the final thing I would say is that it's really important for your champions to have direct access to the project team. And I promise if you're the project team, that will save you time in the long run, because you won't have every user coming to you asking questions. It's all going to be filtered through your champions. But that really gives them the power to, they can come to you if they've got a question they don't understand or they need further help. And it gives them that opportunity to bubble up the feedback that we talked about, and gives you the chance to work with them to come up with some solutions. So definitely all really powerful.
Absolutely. And the thing I would add too there is that frontline feedback, the folks who are closest to the work, closest to the change, closest to the feedback, is some of the most valuable pieces of information that you can have when you're launching an application. So, these days it looks a little different. It's hard to get everyone around a conference table. So maybe a Zoom chat, it may be a Slack channel, it may be a workplace group. It may be a WhatsApp group, but there's a lot of ways to engage these folks now that feels probably a little different than you may have been used to a few months ago, but definitely that level of access is recommended. So it's amazing, Tosh. So like this stuff, I mean, it doesn't just make sense. I'm like, yes, I want all of these things. This is what, good change management looks like. And it feels like change management is kind of never done. Like, does a company ever get to this point and they're like, all right, champions are enabled, we're good here. Pack it up, let's go home. Works complete. Change is done. Like, what happens after you've enabled them long term? Is there something that folks can do so that it doesn't just fade away as they get pulled into the next project? When you start thinking about the gold standard of long-term change management, how do you help set up for that durable vision of change?
Yeah, I mean, the job of a change manager is never really done. Unlike the project team, you complete the milestones, you wrap it up, and you move on to the next thing. But I really feel like as a change manager, that journey, that job of driving adoption and helping people understand the value of a tool just keeps on going. And because of that, the most successful champions are the ones who go beyond the end of the project, who go beyond those roles and responsibilities that you give them, and become true long-term advocates for the change that you've put in place. So, I mean, this slide I'm showing here is something I show to champion groups that I work with, to try and inspire them and help them to think about some of the things that they could be doing to really continue to advocate for Box. So it could be becoming really, learning, how to automate with Relay and helping their team do that. It might be identifying new opportunities to use Box in their team to streamline how they're working. So a couple of things I try and do to make that happen and encourage it. I think first of all is not ending when the project ends. Keep the champion network going. And if you can come back on a regular basis and maybe run workshops about, advanced features in Box, or, things like Shield and Relay, you're really benefiting them, you're helping develop their skills, and they're more likely to take those back to their team. There's a big customer I was working with last year who actually, I started working with them long after they'd introduced Box. They set up their champion network. And every couple of months, we would get a message from them asking, they wanted someone from Box to go into their champion network and talk about new products, or talk about, new features that were going on, whether we were updating the UX, what was going on. And it's one of the most successful champion networks I've seen, because these people are really engaged in the long term. They continue to be interested in Box. And it's really driven that interest, and they've embedded it in their day-to-day works. They're no longer it's no longer us saying to them, look, this is a great tool, these are the benefits, go out and talk about it. They're doing it and they believe it, and it's part of, embedded into their lives. So they really become true champions, I'd say. The second thing I would recommend, particularly, this is specific to Box, but the Box Certified Professional Program. I'm a huge fan of this program.
Josh, are you a Box Certified Professional?
I am a Box Certified Professional, and I'm actually, anyone who wants to join, I'm actually been running quite a few of the sessions lately, so you get more time with me.
That's great. I am also Box Certified, and I'm surprised I passed, actually. So just look, if anyone out there you're thinking I couldn't, you can do this. You can do this. This is for you.
Yeah, it's definitely doable. We provide you with loads of guidance and help. But what I love about the Box Certified Professional Program is I think there's a lot of sort of tech tool certifications out there that are pretty focused on how to be, being an admin and the technical side of it. And we cover all that. But the thing that I think really sets it apart is we really upskill people taking the program to be able to look at their business and look at their ways of working and their processes, and identify opportunities to streamline what they're doing with Box and implement new use cases. And we even take you right through to giving you the skills to manage the change as you're rolling it out to end users. So I think, for any champion that really wants to step up and really make a difference, I would definitely recommend the BCP program.
I guess champions train. That's what they tell me.
Yes, they do.
This is great, Tosh. I mean, these are the types of skills I know helped me when I was a Box customer. many years ago, and now look. So this this could be your path too, or like Tony Melrose, who's a great box admin, now a boxer. So this is there's a career path here, that's for sure. Tell me, Tosh, you mentioned here measuring the results. Is that more than just people coming in and sharing their use cases, or how do you help champions talk about the value of Box to their work in the terms of business outcomes, not just, hey, I used to have it on my documents and now it's in the cloud. Cool story. Like when
I mean, that's
measure
important.
results,
Yeah. So, I mean, Box has got some great tools, be it to be able to understand and look at who's using Box and how they're using it. So, one of the things I really like to look at and encourage our admins and champions to look at are the types of behaviors that you're seeing in Box. So, if you've just got people uploading, downloading, then they're probably not getting a lot of benefit, all the benefit they could out of Box. But when you start seeing people do things like, creating shared links, inviting collaborators, using comments and tasks, automating, using automated processes with Relay, then you can really see that sophistication developing, and you can really measure how the benefit that you're actually gaining from Box. But there's lots of things you can do. I've had some customers who like to actually measure the decrease in email attachments alongside the increase in Box shared links being created. There's lots of ways to slice and dice and look at it, depending on what you're trying to achieve in your business and your particular team if you're a champion.
Yeah, this is amazing, and it's great to power that up. So, and I think it leads nicely into finding effective champions. So, Tosh, you're a champion. I am a aspiring champion. If I am
think
a
you're
box
a champion,
admin, I definitely am a box champion. This is just how I dress on Fridays. It's way easier. I don't even have to dress myself anymore. I just pick the same $5 t-shirts, and I do wash them. Mom, I know you're watching. So, tell me, Tosh, when you think about finding effective champions, how do you know who these people are? Like, I can't just go walk over to their desk and see them using Box. What is the secret to find my Box champions? What do we do?
Yeah, so this is probably the question I get asked by customers more than any other when we're looking to set up a champion network. So a few things that you can do. And the first really quick, easy win is to figure out who your early adopters are. There's a good chance you might already have an idea who they are. They're the people who tend to get on board with every new technology really fast. They love it. They're really excited. They're the people who always have the brand new iPhone. So it's another good way to look out for them. That's or the Apple Pencil there, Dan. But
right.
if you really need to dig in and find out who these people are, look at the tools that you've already got in place and see who's using them the most, who are the most sophisticated users. These people will be a really easy win for you because they're going to be natural evangelists and advocates. They are going to go out, and if they like it, they're going to go out and shout from the rooftops, regardless of how you enable them and what you do with them. So
definitely is me. Yeah, okay, you're right.
It's definitely you.
Okay.
So definitely get your early adopters on board. But I would say, I've seen too many times where change champions have been set up, and it's all those types of people who are always really excited about technology. And, that is a huge miss and a big missed opportunity, because it's really important to also look at those people who probably find technology a bit harder, who are likely to not enjoy the change, to find it frustrating, to want to stick to their old ways. Because first of all, if you don't address those people, they'll talk about their frustration and other people will hear it. It's going to rub off, it'll spread. You don't want that happening. So you really want to identify who the people who are likely to be resistant to the change are. And these guys are going to they're going to take a bit more effort. You might have to give them a bit more in-depth training, sit side by side sometimes, or these days, Zoom to Zoom, and spend some time to help them get on board. But if you can get these people on board, I mean, first of all, they might not love it, but if you can get them happy with using it and used to the new processes, you're making huge progress. If you can get them to love it, those people will actually be by far your most effective champions, because people will know what they're like. They'll know they don't really love new technology. So if they hear them raving about it, then you've literally won,
So if you
you
get
are
Bob from
set.
accounting to buy in, you are on your way to victory. That is for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, I mean, I mentioned before that it's really important to engage and with people from all levels of the business and find champions at all levels. But I'm going to call out leaders and execs, because it is so important to have your leaders and execs walking the talk. I mean, if you're trying to move and, to using box shared links or collaborations for sharing content, and your exec team is still sending out everything by email attachments, you're never going to see the change happen. So
Nope.
get them on board early. I mean, a great example I've got from my pre-box life is that I was working for an organization that was going through a big transformation program, and they actually they came up with a set of guiding principles that were really a step change in behavior for a lot of people in the organization. And me and my team, we knew we had to get the execs on board to make it work. So what I actually did was I printed out each of these guiding principles on a big poster. I asked them each to pick one, and I took a photo of them holding it. And then we introduced, I know, so we introduced these one at a time, one a day. We would send out a photo. It was a great way of introducing the principles, because it was, it was fun. It was interesting as a comms campaign. But the long lasting impact was it meant that each of those execs really felt ownership for that, and were really committed to making it work.
It's not quite blackmail, but I really admire the tactic. That is great. So take photos of your execs holding up signs saying they are going to do stuff, and send that photo
There's
out.
a bit of manipulation in there, definitely, but
TikTokification of change management. This is great.
Exactly.
And are these capabilities you note here, Tosh? Does everyone have to have all of these things, like, or tell me more here?
I mean, not necessarily, but these are all. You're probably not going to find all of these in every person. In fact, you might find, depending on whether they're early adopters or resistors, they're going to have a different maybe skill set. But some things to look out for when you're considering who to ask to be a champion is that people who are influential. If you can get people who are already influential in an organization, that's going to really help you get your message out. People who are natural communicators, because then they're more likely to feel comfortable going out and talking about it. They'll probably do it more. And then people who already understand the processes of work and ways of working in the business. I mean, not only does that mean they're giving you some inside intel that is going to help you craft your strategy and your approach, but they're going to have that credibility in the business with people who are going through the change, because they know what the impact is and how it's going to happen. I think one other thing I'll call out that's not on the slide, but people who are solutions focused tend to be really great champions, especially in the long term, because they're the people who really be looking and saying, okay, we've got that in place now, but actually, can we use it to improve this? And can we continue to iterate and, continue to make improvements as we go?
That's true. Yeah. And even as I guess I would consider myself a type of box expert, but I am blown away every day by new use cases and new ways of using the product that I had not thought of. And it's probably one of the most humbling, but also gratifying things about working around this space is that you're always learning new things and there are always new things to do. You're never done. Super cool.
Yeah, me too. I'm always discovering new box use cases I'd never thought of. So definitely.
So with that
one
in mind,
of the joys of working with customers.
Are there any so as we this has been an amazing session of Work Unleashed Live. No leashes either today. So we've got none for us. I'm not even on our plans. But can you talk to me and all of our amazing Box customers and everyone who's here today about some of the ways you've been helping other Box customers over the last few months? Anything specific or insightful that you wanted to share, just to help other folks understand what this, what getting help and doing effective change management looks like today?
Yeah, definitely. So what I'm hearing, time and time again from our customers right now is that, they're going through rapid change, and, there's so many people who have had to adapt really quickly. So they're saying to me that they might have only had Box in one or two teams for a specific process or use case. And now they're having to really quickly go wall to wall and, get all these new users on board while they're at home, they're isolated physically, so they can't just walk up to someone and ask for help. So it's been really important to help those customers and help those people make that change really seamlessly, because it had to happen so fast. So in the change in ed team, particularly, I think, at all the Box offices, but in EMEA, I know we've been helping lots of customers do that by working with them to create custom videos and custom live training sessions, help cards that people can have at their desk to help walk them through a process. All of those things, we've had loads of demand for in the last few weeks. I think also I'm seeing a lot of customers who are saying, we use Box for certain things, but now we actually have processes that relied on people being in the office to some extent, and we're having to find ways to make those completely remote. So, a good example recently is a customer who's got an approvals process that they really relied on people going around and nudging each other and saying, I sent you this by email, you really need to sign it. And,
they drive by their flat or their house and just honk repeatedly. Please, Josh, approve that invoice.
Exactly. So now, we're automating the process using Relay. They're doing it all remotely. I've had another customer that came to me a few weeks ago and said that they're going to put Relay in place for similar reasons. And I was thrilled because I actually set up a change network, a change champion network at that customer about 6 weeks ago. So
it's like I
was able to tap straight back into that group. I know. I planned the whole thing. But I was able to tap straight back into those guys, and they helped me do it really seamlessly. So that was awesome. We're really spending a lot of time helping customers navigate through these current strange times. So if that sounds like you, and you think you might need some help onboarding new users or getting them up to speed with new processes in Box, and you think you could use some help from Box Consulting, please have a look at the Box Consulting website. Get in touch. We're more than happy to have a chat about that. And before we wrap up, I'm going to give one final plug for Box Certified Professional, because I love it so much. And, it's such a valuable program to help upskill people in using Box and really, really using it to drive change in their organizations. So please take a look at the Box Certified Professional page on the Box community site. And if you're thinking about doing it, now is the time, because we're actually doing a special session as part of BoxWorks Digital that's coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be a really exciting program of events. And I think maybe, Dan, you might have a few things to say about
I would just add, look, for our customers, friends, and family, cats who are joining us today, if you're putting your kids to Zoom school, you can do Box Certified Professional training online, okay? Just block out your calendar, put the kids next to you, grab their iPads, grab their Chromebooks. You're ready to go to school. So are they. So it's only fair. We've agreed. Tosh, would you agree? Okay.
I 100% agree, but I really want to see a cat doing Zoom school now.
Well, if anyone has that video, just drop that in the comments and we will take a look. I am dreams here on Work Unleashed Live, or a Cat Unleashed. We'll take that too. Well, if you are interested in learning more, not just about how to use Box, how to become a great champion, if you're already a great champion, you definitely should be here. This is our 10th BoxWorks. This will also be my 10th BoxWorks. I have a little bit more gray hair than I did at the first one, but we are so excited. You don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to stay in a hotel. You don't have to go to San Francisco. You can grab a cup of coffee, or if you are in London like Tosh, you can grab a rosé on your deck and you can hang out with us. That is September 17th, 2020, coming up in about 7 weeks. Mark your calendar and register right now. Why? Because it's totally free. It's free like a free burrito, not like a free puppy. It is totally free to attend. This is amazing. So you can come. Your friends can come. Everyone who uses Box, if you can spell Box, you can join this event. Just go to boxworks.box.com. Tosh, I know you'll be there. I'll be there. And without that's you watching right now, it's just going to be really boring. So please join us. So there you go. Tosh, so glad you could be with us here today. Any final words of wisdom to close us out today?
I would just say, things are so much in flux at the moment. There's so much change going on. So make sure you think about the people that you're working with. Ask them the questions to find out what's going on with them, whether it's your colleagues, your customers, your friends, your family. Really think about, what's going on for other people, and whether or not, if you're in the process of implementing change, which I think almost, so many of us are right now. Think about how you can really use champions to help you drive that forward. And, regardless of whether you're implementing a new tech tool or whether you're trying to change some processes or create a more diverse and inclusive workforce, champions are a really valuable tool that are going to help you do that more effectively. So have a think about it.
Heck yes, that's not just a good box lesson, that is a good life lesson. Tosh, thank you so much for joining us. This is Work Unleashed Live has gone global. That happened. You did this. You brought Fern the Fern. It's all happened here today. Okay. Thank you, Tosh. I will see you soon. All right. For those of you who have joined us for the last 40-ish minutes, was that fun? I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of today's session. Hopefully you started and you were like, what's a champion? How do I become one? And now you know that you are a champion. And if you're not one yet, well, we know you are. You have the makings of one. So there you go. All right. So thanks, Tosh, for joining us. Part of the Box Consulting team in London. It's a global practice. It's very near and dear to my heart. So I'm really glad she could join us today. And it's the evening there. So you're done. Get the heck out of here. We're just starting here on the West Coast. So we'll join you soon. On behalf of myself, the entire Box team, of course, BoxWorks, that is boxworks.box.com. Pretty easy to remember. Go there, get registered. It's totally free. You definitely want to be there. It's a one-day event. If you need a permission slip or calendar invite, hit us up. We will make sure you can attend. And then if you liked this session, you are interested in learning more about secure remote work, how to make some of the things that we talked about today happen, reach out to the Box team if you know who your teammates are that you work with, or go to box.com/remote. That's box.com/remote. No, that is not to find Netflix movies. That is to help you get resources on secure remote work. We think you're going to enjoy it. This session and a lot of other past sessions and some great resources and blog posts are all posted there. And they're just like BoxWorks. They're free like a free burrito. So they're what my Apple Pencil. All right. On behalf of the entire Box team, I've been Dan. You've been you. This has been Work Unleashed Live. And we will see you on the next episode very soon. Thanks, everyone, for coming. See you soon.